I still remember the day when I first got my hands on Persona 5 for the first time. Up until that point, I wasn't really into JRPGs. But I liked the aesthetics of the game and saw many people recommending it, so I had to try it for myself. And even to this day, Persona 5 remains one of my favorite games of all time, and the game that ultimately opened up the door which allowed me to be in the position I am today. Back then, I never imagined myself becoming a content creator. Nevertheless, a gacha content creator, and for sure, I never imagined that one day we will have a gacha game based in the world of Persona 5, but here we are, with Persona 5 Phantom X being the game that I didn't think that I'll ever want, but now that it's here, it's definitely the game that I needed. Also, I never imagined that one day I'll be asked to do a video on a Persona game. This is a very big deal to me, and the moment I received the sponsorship offer for this game, I was very excited about it. On that note, I want to say thank you Sega for sponsoring this video. This is really a dream came true. One of the things I like about the live service model is that it never ends. I mean, it eventually ends, but you know what I mean. I love regular single-player games. It's always nice to play through the entire story of a game from the beginning to the end. But when it comes to games like Persona 5, I always end up with an empty feeling after I'm done with them. I always feel like I want more. I still remember my first thoughts at the end of my first playthrough. Man, I would love to play more of this. And sure, we got Persona 5 Royal after, and I loved it even more than the original. We got new characters like Kasumi and Maruki, who were great additions to the cast. We got gameplay improvements, extra stories, and an entire new semester. And my favorite part, more development and a proper closure for Akechi, who was one of my favorite characters in the original game. But that too came to an end, and I was left there with the same feeling of wanting more. So that's why I'm very happy that P5X exists, because the story will continue to develop and the game will continue to grow for a long time to come. Anyway, if there are people unfamiliar with Persona 5 or the Persona series in general, let me give you a quick rundown. To explain it briefly, Persona is a series of JRPGs where high school kids fight monsters using their persona. A persona is basically the manifestation of your inner self, kinda like a cooler alter ego that is often based on a historical figure. The persona of Wonder, the main character in P5X, is based on this fine gentleman who was basically a Slovak version of Robin Hood. The game loop of the series is pretty simple. You go to the school during the day and battle shadows during the night. The games in the Persona series usually mix dungeon crawling elements with live sim gameplay where you can join clubs, hang out with your confidants, work part-time jobs, and even go on dates, something that you will never do in real life. Also, the stories tackle some pretty deep stuff like identity crisis, trauma, society's dark secrets, so while on the surface level the games seem pretty fun and chill, there are much more complex and deeper layers to explore. Persona 5 Phantom X is the latest game in the Persona franchise that happens in a parallel world of Persona 5. So if you played P5, you'll recognize a lot of places and characters, but it focuses on a different set of Phantom Thieves. This is also the first mobile and live service title in the Persona series. And while we see beloved characters from the original game like Joker, Anne, Ryuji or Makoto, they are not present in the main story, but you can still find them in special side missions and you can summon them as phantom idols, which are basically your playable characters that you can use in the combat and summon on the gacha. So you don't have to worry if you haven't played Persona 5 before or any Persona game. P5X does a very good job at explaining all the concepts and story elements like shadows, mementos and personas for anyone new to the series. So don't worry, you can start this game as a total newbie. Sure, there are a lot of callbacks and easter eggs from Persona 5 that you will appreciate as a veteran, but you don't need to play any other game to enjoy this one. Another difference between this game and the original Persona 5 is that while Persona 5 focuses on dealing with people's hearts to fix their corrupted desires, in P5X the desire is taken from the entire world, not just a certain person, resulting in a world where everybody lacks any kind of motivation to do their jobs or stand up for themselves. Sure, you still have specific targets that have palaces you get to explore, but the focus is much more on a collective this time. Without spoiling anything major, the first palace you'll tackle belongs to a retired baseball player who tackles defenseless women in metro stations, and nobody seems to care. Not even the police wants to do anything about him because, like I said, the desire of the world itself is taken away. Also, what's with Persona 5 and scumbag sports teachers? Every time it must be one, huh? The new cast is also pretty likable. We have the new main character, not Joker, Wonder, who is your standard Persona protagonist. The Morgana of this game is an owl named Lufo, and I'm glad I still have my animal companion who sends me to sleep. And we have characters like Motoha Arai, who is your classmate who gets tangled in all of the madness. And there are plenty more, but I'll let you explore them for yourself. When I first saw that this will be a gacha game, my biggest concern was for the gacha elements taking over the unique feeling that the Persona games have. But after playing the game for myself, I can confidently say that P5X is a Persona game first and a gacha game after. Sure, you have your regular gacha stuff like a stamina system, the gacha itself, events, weeklies, farming for mats, character building, but they don't really feel like the main content of the game like in many gachas. The things that make Persona are still there. You can still hang out with friends, raise stats, work part-time jobs, and raise relationships. Everything you'd expect to find in a Persona game is still there. Also, the turn-based combat is exactly the same as we know it from P5, and not only that, P5X added even more on top of the original system like the Phantom Idols and special unique skills. And no, don't worry, the all-out attacks are still here. I am very excited about this game and I cannot wait to play more. P5X is a dream come true for me that I never expected to ever see. Persona 5 Phantom X is available to play for free now on Steam, Google Play and Apple Store. If you're thinking about giving the game a try, please use my link in the description to download it right now. Even if you are a newcomer to the series or a seasoned veteran who wants more Persona, P5X will surely be a worthwhile experience. Let me know what are your thoughts on the game down in the comments.